The metallic clink of her wedding ring hitting the pawn shop counter sliced through the stale air like a gunshot. My stomach lurched as I stood frozen in the doorway, the bell above still jangling from my entrance. Sarah, my wife of 7 years, didn't see me. Her fingers, trembling slightly, pushed the gold band toward the grizzled man behind the counter. He squinted at it through smudged glasses, then slid a silver bracelet across the glass. A cheap, gaudy thing with fake emeralds that caught the dim fluorescent light. "This what you want?" he grunted. Sarah nodded, her lips tight, her eyes darting to the door. That's when she saw me. Her face drained of color, and the bracelet slipped from her hand, clattering to the floor. "Why?" The word tore from my throat, raw and jagged before I could stop it. The pawn shop smelled of dust and desperation, the kind of place where dreams went to die. Sarah's eyes, those hazel eyes I'd fallen for under a summer sky, now flickered with something I couldn't name. Guilt, fear, maybe defiance. "David," she whispered, her voice cracking like thin ice. "You weren't supposed to be here." But I was. I'd followed her. Not out of suspicion, at least not at first. It was the small things. Her late nights at the office, the way her phone buzzed at odd hours, the faint scent of cologne that wasn't mine clinging to her coat. I told myself it was nothing. Work stress. A new perfume. My mind spun excuses like a spider weaving a web, delicate and desperate to hold. But this morning when she slipped out with a vague errand excuse, something in her clipped tone, the way her fingers fidgeted with her purse snapped my denial. So I followed. And now, here we were, standing in this grimy shop, her betrayal laid bare in the form of a pawned ring and a cheap bracelet. "Sarah, talk to me." My voice shook, caught between anger and a pleading I hated myself for. The pawn shop guy shuffled to the back, muttering about giving us space, but his absence only made the silence heavier. Sarah's hands twisted together, her knuckles white. "It's not what you think," she said, but her eyes wouldn't meet mine. They darted to the bracelet on the floor, then to the ring still on the counter, like she was weighing which one mattered more. "Then what is it?" I stepped closer, the linoleum sticky under my shoes. The air felt thick, pressing against my chest. "You're trading our marriage for that?" I pointed at the bracelet, its fake stones winking mockingly. She flinched, and for a moment I thought she'd cry. But Sarah never cried. Not when her father died, not when we lost the baby 2 years ago. She bottled it all up, let it fester. Maybe that's where this started. "It's not about the ring," she said, her voice low, almost a whisper. "It's complicated." She reached for the bracelet, her fingers brushing the cold metal before she pulled back, like it burned her. I needed something. Something that wasn't us. Her words hit like a punch, stealing my breath. I wanted to scream, to demand answers, but my mind was a tangle of questions and dread. Who was she? The woman I'd married, who laughed at my bad cooking and danced with me in our tiny kitchen, felt like a stranger now. I saw flashes of her smile, her hand in mine, the way she'd whisper always in the dark. Were those lies? Or was this moment the lie? A cruel trick my heart refused to believe? "Tell me," I said, my voice steadier now, though my hands shook. "Who is he?" Because there had to be someone. The cologne, the late nights, the ring. She was shedding me piece by piece for someone else. I braced for the name, for the final cut that would sever us. Sarah's eyes widened, and for a moment she looked relieved. "There's no one else, David." Her voice was firm, but it wavered at the edges, like she was trying to convince herself too. "It's not another man. It's me. I needed out." Out. The word tasted bitter. Out of what? Our marriage. Our life. I gestured wildly, my voice rising, echoing off the pawn shop's cluttered shelves. A cracked porcelain doll stared at me from a corner, its painted eyes accusing. "We built a home, Sarah. We have a daughter. You don't just walk away from that." Her face crumpled, and she pressed a hand to her mouth, stifling a sound I couldn't hear. "I'm not walking away," she said, but it sounded like a lie. I feel like I'm drowning, David. Every day it's the same. The house, Lily, the bills, your job, my job, it's suffocating. I needed something that was mine. Just mine. The bracelet. It wasn't about its value. It was barely worth the gold she'd traded. It was what it represented. Freedom. Escape. A life without me. My chest tightened and I felt the world tilt. the edges of my vision blurring. I wanted to grab her, shake her, make her see what she was throwing away. But her eyes held a desperation I hadn't seen before. A raw, aching need that made my anger falter. Then why not talk to me? I asked, my voice softer now, almost breaking. Why this? Why lie? I pointed at the ring, its simple band glinting dully under the shop's harsh lights. It was modest, bought when we were young and broke, but it had meant everything. To her it was just metal now. I didn't know how, she admitted, her voice barely audible. You're so good, David. You're steady. You love me and I know that. But sometimes I feel like I'm disappearing. Like I'm just Lily's mom or your wife, or the woman who pays the electric bill. I needed to feel alive again. Her words cut deeper than any confession of infidelity could have. I thought we were partners, equals, building a life together. But to her I was part of the cage. I stood there, silent, as the truth settled like dust. The pawn shop's hum of fluorescent lights filled the space. A low buzz that matched the static in my head. I wanted to hate her, to call her selfish, but all I felt was a hollow ache. Had I missed the signs? The way she'd stare out the window at night, her silences growing longer, her laughter rarer? I chalked it up to grief, to stress. I'd been wrong. So what now? I asked, my voice flat. You pawn our marriage, buy a bracelet, and what? Run away. Leave Lily. The thought of our daughter, her gap-toothed smile and messy pigtails, made my throat tighten. She's 5, Sarah. She needs you. Sarah's eyes filled with tears, the first I'd seen in years. I'm not leaving her, she said fiercely. I'd never leave her. I needed a moment. A stupid, selfish moment. She reached for the ring, her fingers hovering over it before she pulled back. I was going to get it back. I swear. I just needed to feel like I could choose something for myself. I wanted to believe her. God, I wanted to. But the bracelet on the floor, the ring on the counter, they were symbols of a fracture I couldn't ignore. And what about me? I asked, my voice barely a whisper. Where do I fit in your choices? She looked at me, then really looked at me, and I saw the weight of her guilt, her love, her confusion. I don't know, she admitted, and it was the most honest thing she'd said. I love you, David, but I don't know if it's enough. The pawn shop door jingled behind me. Another customer stepping in, oblivious to the wreckage of our lives. I stared at Sarah, searching for the woman I knew, the one who'd promised forever. She was still there, buried under layers of pain and longing, but I didn't know if I could reach her. The bracelet glinted on the floor, a cheap imitation of freedom. The ring sat on the counter, a quiet testament to what we'd lost. I reached for the ring, my fingers brushing the cool metal. This isn't just yours to trade, I said, my voice steady despite the storm inside. It's ours. I slid it into my pocket, the weight of it grounding me. Sarah's eyes followed the movement, and for a moment I thought she'd protest. But she didn't. She just stood there, tears streaking her face, the bracelet forgotten at her feet. I turned and walked out, the bell jangling behind me. The street outside was cold, the autumn air biting at my skin. I didn't know if Sarah would follow, if she'd fight for us, or if she'd chase that fleeting sense of freedom. All I knew was the ring in my pocket, heavy with promises, and the unbearable truth that love alone might not be enough to hold us together.